Understanding and protecting our majestic Yorkshire coast and marine ecosystems is essential for our well-being today and for future generations. The Yorkshire Marine Nature Partnership hopes that by learning more about the benefits we receive from the marine and coastal environment, we can shift our perspective and make informed decisions across all aspects of our society. The concept of natural capital accounting provides the information and knowledge to include the natural environment in these decisions, helping us to understand and value the assets and services that the natural environment provides. Many human activities release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. This acts like a blanket, trapping the sun's energy and warming the planet and oceans. There are many natural processes that can remove this carbon from the atmosphere. It's vital that we work together and support those natural processes to begin to deal with the effects of our changing climate.
Climate change is a really complicated subject and involves lots of different people in lots of different areas of the authority, and we need to find a way that works for everybody in terms of adapting to the changing climate. So increases in stormy weather, for example, or heat waves and droughts, we're going to see more of them in the future, and we need to be better prepared for them. Natural capital, what that allows us to do is sort of speak on terms that others understand. So it brings the environment up to a same level as, say, finance or the social aspect of things, and I think that's really important.
Bex Lynham from the Yorkshire Wildlife Trust explains why this is so important.
We all know that we're facing a climate emergency as well as a biodiversity emergency in this country and globally. So it's going to be really, really important that we protect what we've already got in the way of carbon stores, and where possible, we can put back habitats that we've lost. So things like seagrass and salt marsh, which we have lost a lot of in the region over the years. We can protect different habitats, marine habitats, coastal habitats in a range of different ways, but a lot of it comes back to the policies that are in place. So we can put, for example, marine protected areas in place. That gives a habitat or a wider area spatial protection. So it means that we control the different human activities that happen within that area.
Within one of these protected areas around windswept Spurn Point, at the southernmost end of our Yorkshire coastal region, the Yorkshire Wildlife Trust are protecting and nurturing seagrass beds.
Seagrass is a very special type of flowering plant. It's a food source for certain protected species. It stabilises sediment and allows for succession of salt marsh and sand dunes. And it also provides a filtration mechanism, so it clears the water. Historically, we've got records that show there were about 500 or 600 hectares which covered the inside of Spurn Point, and there's only about 20 hectares of that remaining. We're fortunate that Yorkshire Wildlife Trust actually owns the foreshore at Spurn Point, and this has given us the opportunity to come up with a restoration programme that's going to let us target long-term restoration of about 80 hectares.
Yorkshire's coastline is an integral part of our society. As a landing place for ancient civilisations, through the growth and decline of the whaling and fishing industries, to the Victorian seaside tourism boom, and more recently, home to the world's largest offshore wind energy development.
Well, geography shapes everything, and you only have to look at this view to see the harbour, the fishing, that's such a vital part of Scarborough's heritage, less so now, and the castle on an amazing headland, which is a natural fortification for two huge bays. The Vikings landed over there, and ever since the Vikings came by sea, you can see that the sea and the marine ecosystem has shaped everything about this town. These days, it's not so much Vikings that arrive on our shores, it's 10 million visitors every year. And people come from the coast, they come from the extraordinary countryside and our national parks in Yorkshire, they come for the great food, they come for an experience of this country that's unlike any other. We're getting ready for what we hope will be a new renaissance around this coastline. We know that the countryside of Yorkshire is incredibly important, both for the well-being and the prosperity of the region. And what we want to do is really begin to understand what an asset the coastline and the marine ecosystem is. We need to understand its value so we don't destroy it inadvertently, but also that we can use real innovation to make more of it without being destructive. It's an incredibly exciting period.
In the past, development by people was often opportunistic and not always sympathetic to the natural world. Vicky Murray explains how the Environment Agency is working with partners and finding innovative natural solutions to some of those negative impacts.
Climate change, we know, is an issue. Our sea levels are increasing, so we're going to see more severe storms. And when those storms do occur, they're going to have more significant impacts to coastal communities and coastal habitats. And so it's really important that the agency, our partners and society recognises that risk and works now to try and limit the implications of that risk. And we can do that through working with natural processes. So the Yorkshire coast is about 320 kilometres in distance, and along that coastline we have about 200 flood and coastal assets. Those structures have a really important role to play in protecting our coastal communities, but there are options to also improve them. We can add texture, we can cut scarring or lacerations into the rocks, and it's essentially designed to get native species to colonise those concrete structures. So we'll have our beautiful harbours and we'll have our beautiful piers, but at the same time, we'll turn them from hard grey concrete structures into something that's much more sympathetic to the beach line and to the local habitat, and is also thriving and full of life.
Yorkshire's marine environment is diverse and unique. For many years, we've seen these natural systems as commodities available for our use and enjoyment. We need to change that perspective to acknowledge them as key assets to our society, which require investment and care. Developed collaboratively and holistically, the natural capital approach could be one tool which helps us to do that.
The sea out there is so difficult to know and understand, but obviously it's massively important, and people have the potential to have a major impact by their choices, by sustainably sourced fish, for instance. And if people favour those things, it's a lead to help those become more successful.
The concept of natural capital is really interesting. The environment, the outdoors and nature and activities that can be carried out there can very much support our healthcare systems and support the NHS to deliver the service it needs. And the Yorkshire coast is absolutely fantastic to do that.
The natural capital approach is really important for decision making. It ensures that we look at nature as an asset and something that we should really, really value. So in that way, by putting an economic value on it, it allows us to demonstrate to the likes of policymakers, etc., why protecting those natural assets is so important to us.
There's no doubt that applying a natural capital approach to the marine and coastal environment is complex and will take time. However, it presents many opportunities for improved understanding of our environment and our reliance upon it, leading to informed decision-making and a more sustainable future.